Hi, I'm BryCoxWORKSHOPS.com. I've got a great email from a photographer here who's discouraged. I'm going to leave his name out because I don't want to embarrass him. But I can't always answer everybody's individual messages all the time, but I feel like anytime a message is, I think, powerful enough or affects a lot of us, then it's a great email or question to answer here on video for everybody. So just to kind of sit, it's kind of a little bit longer message. I'm just going to hit some of the high points here. The first thing he says is, I feel like a hack sometimes, right? He spent a lot in gear. He's even joined PPA, so he has the insurance. So good job there. I think that's a great move, joining PPA. And he says he started a few years ago, but doesn't know if he wants to shoot weddings because he's been divorced a few times, plus with his bad knees and things. So I'm going to stop there for 1 second and say, yeah, if you don't love weddings or don't feel like you'll be great at weddings, don't shoot weddings. A lot of people feel like they have to shoot weddings, like that's professional means shooting weddings. No, professional can mean doing commercial work. It can mean shooting just kids. It can mean shooting just families, right? Even just pets. Whatever you really want to shoot, that's what I would focus in on and really hone your skills on that one thing, whatever that is. I shoot weddings still. A lot of people start with weddings sometimes because people ask them and then they don't after so many years. I just love weddings, so I still shoot weddings. I just make sure I charge a lot for them. Still a fair price, but then really pour my heart and soul because I just realized I'm putting so much time into a wedding. It has to be worth a certain amount. So that's my solution. But if you don't love weddings, yeah, don't even worry about them. Don't feel guilty over that at all. But let's jump to this next part because I think this is important. He says, there's some days I feel like deleting everything and starting over. And he says, like, initially he's happy with an image, may post it on Instagram, maybe a day or two later he looks at it, he's discouraged, feels like deleting it or does delete it. He kind of goes back and forth. He's kind of taken some various courses online, but really he just kind of feels discouraged some days. I feel like that's a genuine thing that a lot of photographers feel. And then the last part here I'll end with, he says, I've looked at your workshops. A lot of things you have online are free. Yeah, that's true. And after I get caught up, I really want to come to a course, but then he gets discouraged moment again. He says, but when I look at some of the student galleries and things that people have posted who attend your course, then I get discouraged again. And so, basically wondering if is there any hope for him. So I got a number of pieces of advice for all these different parts of this message. So the first part on being discouraged is one that's totally natural and normal, particularly for artists. We are hardest on ourselves, right? And also being self-employed because we feel the bumps in the road. The economy goes like this a little bit. Every little thing, if you work somewhere, the business may be feeling it. They just don't tell anybody, right? You may be a day from losing your job. You don't know. Nobody knows. Nobody knows because the business just pretends that everything's great. I've had clients come in and they'll tell me that their business is borrowing on this and borrowing on that just to make payroll. And I'm thinking, the employees don't know this. The employees don't know this. They think they work in this fantastic place and that their job is secure when it isn't. When you're self-employed, you actually have the true knowledge that your job isn't secure. And that in kind of a way is security because you know the truth. You know the truth. And the truth is that it depends on you and I each individually. It depends on me getting up in the morning and making stuff happen. And that leads me to the next point, which is hard work outdoes everything else. Adding some hustle, adding some gumption is going to outdo other photographers. There's a lot of photographers who just rely on their, I don't know what you call it, their born abilities, right? Like sometimes you'll have these conversations with photographers where they'll say, it's more important to be born with it. And they're like, no, hard work. And they're like, no, but you kind of just have to be born with it. And I think, no, your brain is immensely massive and has so much potential, and there's so many synapses and highways and things that can be created. And you may have an initial liking, but what that usually means for any kind of artist is that they just do barely enough, and that's it. Because just what they do naturally is enough to get them some attention. Just like playing guitar. I can naturally play guitar, so that's it. Why take lessons? Why get better? I can naturally just play, which means they plateau for the rest of their life, and they never, ever get better. Where somebody who's dedicated, who says, I want to learn to play the guitar better. I'm going to learn the technique, and I'm going to learn the artistry, right, of how to improv. Those two things, I have to be able to do both of those, and practicing daily, they are going to outperform everybody else that doesn't practice. So similarly in photography, I think one of the best things you can do to not get discouraged is to just focus in on one thing and work on it continually, and then focusing on another thing and work on it, and make those things habits, and then focus on the next thing. So I've got a lot of my free videos, as he mentioned, on my website, BryCoxWORKSHOPS.com. If you sign up on my email list, you get about 5 emailed to you, and you can also dig around the website, and there's some links and stuff where you can look at just free stuff. So check out some of those videos. They cover a lot of kind of general good information to get you started, but then dive in deeper, become a member, and look at some of the courses. And I feel like that would be a really good suggestion, because he's talking about maybe coming to a workshop, but it doesn't feel like if he's there, not there. I get all types of photographers attending workshops, particularly like the week-long ones. And I get to know those photographers quite a bit because I'm spending an entire week with them. Like I just had one in Texas. I've got one more this year, which is in California, called West Coast School, where we spend an entire week with just a small group of photographers every single day, all day, on just lighting, on expression, on technique, on nailing things in the camera, all that kind of stuff. We dive in on that, including workflow and things as well. You can check out all those details. But I sometimes have people take my online stuff first to prepare and then come to a week-long in person, and they feel like they're that much further ahead and now they can absorb more. I've had other people come and take an in-person workshop first, leave with their head spinning, and then go home, sign up for the online stuff to continue to learn after and to keep that information in their head. Because we can only absorb as much as for whatever level we are, we can only absorb so much. And it doesn't matter how much I talk about, you can only absorb this much, whatever level you are. So my recommendation is check out some of my free stuff for sure, but then my online stuff is super cheap. I have dropped the price to make it more affordable for photographers. I felt like I was pretty cheap before, but I've even made it even less expensive. And these are full online courses, like a 3-hour course on just lighting, right? Hours and hours and hours and hours on just workflow and being quick and speedy in Lightroom, Photoshop. And like tons of hours on just pricing, like 2 hours on pricing, 6 hours on just business and sales and things. So check out some of these deeper things. And my recommendation is give yourself some self-assignments. So maybe you set up a schedule of how you're going to watch them. Maybe it's like an hour a day, and you're going to give up, X amount of television to watch more of these videos. And you're also going to maybe set up some shoots. So as you're watching a video, you're taking notes, and then get some ideas for your next shoot. Go try the things in person. A lot of times when I'm doing an in-person workshop, we're doing a classroom, we explain everything, people are like, yeah, got it, great. We go out on location, people start pulling out their equipment, and they're fumbling. They can't get their equipment to do what they want. They're fumbling with their equipment, their gear, their camera, and it's like, I'm not getting the results I want. It's like they understood it in the class, but they don't understand it in person. The doing is the learning. So even if you're watching these online, take some notes, and then go do. And just kind of make it just like you're in school, and you're teaching yourself. I think continual education really helps. I think with depression or feeling bad or anything like that, the best thing we can do is work on ourselves, invest in ourselves and our business and our own personal growth. So yes, take notes, set up a schedule on how you're going to watch them, go out there and start doing some photo shoots, lining things up, practice these things in person, and make a lot of these things habits. It's like golf or anything else. You got to get exactly the right swing and the grip, or you just can't progress. And in order to go further, sometimes we have to get a little bit worse because we got to change some of the grips and things in our stance. But that means we can then go further, right? But these little details are the habits, and we got to build those habits using a meter, custom white balancing, understanding light direction, all those kind of things. We cover all of this in the full courses. So it's hard to say just don't get discouraged. I think all photographers and artists, even self-employed business people do. It's just part of the nature of things. So, but how do we counteract that? The roller coaster of emotions where it's like, oh yay, oh no, oh yay, oh no, is understand that that's part of the nature of being an artist. And 2, building in then some hustle, some work, some self-improvement, some learning. And if you're a member of PPA, I've also got some videos on PPA EDU. Check those out as well. I've got far more on my own website, though, BryCoxWORKSHOPS.com. I hope that helps. If you have any other questions, photographers, send them my way. Check out all my workshops and everything, all at my website as well, BryCoxWORKSHOPS.com. All right, you guys. Until next time, America.